So today's lockdown lesson is how do I stop my dog jumping up on guests? So there's loads of elements to this. So let's just talk about where the behavior came from in the first place. So generally this starts when the dog is a pup. They're so small, they're so cute. People are inviting them up. So they go on their hind legs, put their two paws on the body, and they get reinforced first. So they get a cuddle. They might even get a treat, but they get that attention, so they love it. So therefore, that behavior is just going to stay at the same level or increase. But then suddenly the dog gets bigger, and the owners decide, no, I don't want them jumping on guests anymore. But still invite them maybe to jump up on them. So it can get really confusing for the dog. So think about the dog's reinforcement history and how long they've been doing this behavior and how long they've been getting reinforced for the behavior. And then think about your management and what you actually do to try and stop the behavior or try to train an alternative behavior. So this one, not that it's a tricky one, it's not a tricky one, but it involves you. If you're not going to manage the environment and manage the dog, it involves you instructing your visitors what to do. And loads of people don't want to do that. And as I said, loads of your visitors want your dog to jump up on them, or they don't care about your dog and they're here to see you. They don't want any interactions with your dog. So you need to make the call. Is the dog going to be in the room when the visitors come? If you don't want to put in any work, no, just have the dog in a different room when the visitors are there. But I'm just going to give you some tips to deal with this one. So the most extreme case would be that the dog hears the doorbell ring and already gets super excited. If you've got one of those dogs, you need to do some work with the doorbell first, because otherwise it's a losing battle. The dog is super excited even before the visitor has entered the house. So of course they're going to be up to 90 bouncing around the place when the visitor comes in. So that just involves some desensitization work. Take a recording of your doorbell, get some treats, and play the recording, and at the same time deliver a treat. So ding dong treat, ding dong treat, ding dong treat at the exact same time. So what you're doing there is your dog has this history of every time they hear the doorbell, somebody enters the house, but you want to teach them that, you know what, sometimes when you hear that doorbell, nothing happens. And then you can take that further by making the doorbell sound a cue for them to actually move that direction away from the door and jump into bed. But I'm not going to go into how you train that. The next tip would be the doorbell rings and I'm going to go and get myself one of the frozen stuffed Kongs I've made, and I'm going to give it to the dog. And then what I can do is I'll let the guest in, and then the guest will sit down, and then I'll let the dog join us, maybe, depending on who the guest is. So if I'm letting the dog join, they've already got the Kong in them out. What the likely outcome there is that the dog is just going to be interested in the tasty treats that are in their Kong, and will probably just say hello briefly to the owner or to the visitor, and continue working on their stuffed Kong. Other techniques is you can put your dog on the lead so they actually physically can't jump on the visitors, and you can reinforce them for sitting calmly at your feet. You could also just put them into their crate, or as I said, just in a different room. What else? You could, if the visitors are people that actually want to say hello to your dog and see your dog, then they're generally the ones that you can actually give some instruction. So you could be like, okay, I'm just about to let the dog in the room. If he jumps on you, can you just ignore him? Don't even give him any eye contact. But as he comes towards you, if you request to sit, and once his bum goes down, then you can just rub him. And most people, some people will just say, here, don't even bring your dog in the room. But others will say, yes, no problem, I'll do that. What else? Yeah, I think that's it. I had other little things that were popping in my head, but they're gone now. But yes, I hope that's helpful. If you've any other questions on it, just pop them in the comments, and I will talk to you tomorrow.